For people in Cornwall, having Goonhilly here and Spaceport are not only inspiring, but it's the aspiration that there are jobs that are created. And Mark was passionate about that, creating a county where we could be very proud about the technology and the capabilities. We really miss the contribution that he made to helping all of this happen.
We did a fair bit of work with Mark, and really he was an enthusiast for what we and others were trying to do in Cornwall, trying to rejuvenate the minerals industry, particularly lithium offers so much promise, but he really did make a huge difference to our company through funneling that funding, particularly towards our pilot plant, which was a total game changer for us. We've drilled so far 4 holes in Cornwall to test for the presence of lithium in rich water. Every single one has been successful, so he was an integral part of putting that into motion.
The trouble with geothermal in the UK is there is none of it, essentially. So Cornwall is a real trailblazer, and Mark was absolutely crucial to the Cornish decision to prioritise funding for geothermal under the last ERDF programme, and that got us all going.
He had a soft-spoken enthusiasm that was infectious. It made you want to work with him because you knew that by doing so, you could achieve things with him that you couldn't possibly on your own. And in actual fact, he had an energy, he had a warmth, he had a charm and charisma that could pretty much melt any icy heart and overcome any objection. He was a great guy to work with. He was inspiring.
I first met Mark over 20 years ago. We worked together as business associates around the food and drink scene. He was a great mentor to me, and most importantly, he was a wonderful friend. I remember the day we first met very clearly, even though it was all that time ago, and thinking what a warm, enthusiastic and genuine human being he was, and that was true for the whole time that I knew him.
Mark always got the best out of people, and I think people wanted to do their best for him. And that came through in everything that I did with him. We had some pretty challenging things that we wanted to tackle. He was never one to shy away from rocking the boat either. I mean, he used to call it making himself a nuisance, but it was always in the interests of Cornwall and never himself, and that was just a hallmark of what he did.
The number of people that I speak to that just say, we miss him. We'll never work with anyone as good as that again. He just understood how to get the best out of people. And I think it was his nature. He was just a remarkably nice, wonderful man.
I think he was incredibly proud of his previous business connections that he was able to bring very effectively back into the LEP board. You also appreciated his passion, and he was incredibly proud of the role that he had as the chair. There's a lot of businesses in Cornwall that owe their initial success and their continued success to the work that the LEP did under the chairmanship of Mark.
He just had a way of making the intangible tangible. His sense of humour, his ability to see the good light side of a situation, not that it was trivializing serious matters, but it was able to deal with serious matters in a way that made you feel good about yourself and about what we were trying to do collectively.
The support and kind nature that he had and the roles that he had on different boards meant that he could have an amazing impact, and he truly as a leader saw that if I sit on a housing board, a business board and a health board, actually I'm covering all angles to get the best and biggest impact for people in Cornwall. So what was really unique in that regard was he was able to look at, we want economic ambitions, but we need our people in order to do that.
So Mark and I first started working together when we recognised the opportunity to bring floating offshore wind electricity into Cornwall. He brought a huge amount of energy to what we were trying to do and really kind of catalysed the whole thing. And I was just so pleased to have Mark part of this. And I just knew that with him, we were going to be successful.
Mark really was a visionary, so I think what his legacy will be is the fact that he saw the big picture of where Cornwall was going. If you look at the energy he put into promoting things like tech metals and mining, floating offshore wind as sort of emerging sectors of Cornwall's economy, I think Cornwall will owe Mark a huge debt of gratitude in the years to come for the energy and focus that he brought to developing those sectors.
The antenna behind me here was previously an old sort of defunct TV transmission antenna, and with Mark's help we were able to convert this into the world's first and only commercial deep space antenna, supporting missions to the Moon and Mars and other places in the solar system. It's recreated Cornwall's place on the global map in terms of space and space communications.
I think food and drink was Mark's first love, really. It's where he started out in business, but he did far more than people give him credit for. And on the sidelines, he worked with an awful lot of Cornwall's businesses to put them on the right track and help them develop and evolve.
Mark was always very friendly. He was always very open. He was very balanced. He was very balanced in his view on things. He didn't take an extreme position on things. He always saw other people's perspectives and opinions, but at the same time he was always assertive about his own. And he's going to be sorely missed, not just by me, but many people in many sectors, and lots of people across Cornwall and beyond.
Mark was a very warm person, and you just felt that he was completely relaxed in his presence. He never held himself out to be, somebody important or anything like that. He was just a really good guy, a fantastic person.
And my memories of him are his humour and his ability to make everyone feel that their views were very important. It was always pushing other people to be the ones that had made that happen. Although actually the real achiever always, and the person that had brought us all together, was Mark.
Whenever we used to do TV interviews, if I couldn't be there, Mark would always report back on how things had gone. And he used to send me these sort of one-line texts. So one of them said, "Think it went okay, no googlies bold, dogs did a cameo halfway through though."
There you go. You'd have had that all the way through. That's all right. I said hello.
And then just one more, "No hate mail yet, we'll stay under the desk for a while." And that just said it all really about Mark. He was a lot of fun to work with, but he was a real true champion for Cornwall. Very serious, took very seriously his responsibility as chair of the LEP. And I think that Cornwall owes Mark a great debt, and we all miss him terribly.
Mark was a leader, but he led by serving others. He was selfless in the time he took and the energy he expended in helping his people. People have lost a beacon, a friend, and a mentor in Mark because he was such a great human being to be with.
Oh, Mark had amazing qualities: kind, supportive, tenacious, very competitive. I think the only time he was ever cross with me was when we came second in the charity gig rowing race. Sorry, Mark. But that competitive nature and the tenacious spirit, coupled with a very humble person, made him an absolute joy to be around.